talking, and then we'll be doing the interview, okay? Hello and welcome into another edition of The Final Drive here on DMVSTREAM.COM. I'm Jeremy Huber. Another great night of high school football in the area. Remember, you can get to us, tweet at us at DMVStream, hashtag it with DMV Final Drive. If real quickly running down the top five, let you know who won: Centerville, Northwest, Stonebridge, all those teams winning tonight. A little bit down the rankings, it was Westfield and Stonebridge. They call it the Battle of the Bulldogs, and we're lucky enough to be joined at the top of the show by the head coach of the Westfield Bulldogs, a 15-9 winner over Stonebridge tonight, Kyle Simmons. Coach Simmons, first off, thanks for joining us and congratulations on the win.
You're welcome, Jeremy, and thank you for your interest in Westfield football.
Yeah, obviously it's tough to not be interested in your team. Another win for you guys, and obviously we got to give you credit, Coach. The way the schedule you guys play, there's never any kind of slacking off, getting the cupcakes early on. It's always the tough non-conference games, getting ready for that tough old Concord District schedule. Tonight seemed like it was the usual slugfest when you guys and Stonebridge get together.
Yeah, the scheduling committee really likes to see the two Bulldogs go at it, so yeah, it's a tough schedule, and we're getting ready to enter the Concord here shortly, and we're going to have back-to-back tough weeks in front of us, and we're going to do the best we can, try to get better each week.
Talking about tonight's game, you guys iced the game with a goal or a stand on fourth down in the last minute of the game. Talk a little about what your defense was able to do to shut down the Bulldogs.
Well, they've been doing it all night. I was really proud of them and their effort. They've been on the field a lot. We were down two inside linebackers at that point in the game, and they just did not quit. Matter of fact, it was the same group that was out when they blocked the field goal and ran it back for a touchdown. So it was a powerful win for us as a team, and it was a great effort defensively. Really proud of them.
Evan Gray, your running back, ran 16 times for 72 yards, had the game-winning touchdown, 5:39 left. Talk about him and the offensive line, getting him, obviously, a game like that, not that much when it comes to running the ball. It's not going to be that easy, but obviously getting you yards when you need it and getting a touchdown when you needed it.
Yeah, exactly. We knew two things going into this game. One was that offensively, Stonebridge was going to have the ball quite a bit, the type of offense they run. In fact, they don't mind going for it in fourth down. They put themselves in fourth and short quite often. So we knew our defense was going to be on the field a lot, and we knew that our offense was going to have limited opportunities. When we got the ball in the first drive, we drove down the field pretty effectively, but threw a pick, and we really didn't see the ball a whole lot for quite a while. Some 3-and-outs in the third quarter, but then in the fourth quarter, when we really needed them, they stepped up and got it done. But we got to work on the in-betweens.
Obviously, yeah, talking to Kyle Simmons, the head coach of the Westfield Bulldogs, a 15-9 winner tonight over Stonebridge in the Battle of the Bulldogs, as they like to call it. Coach, obviously some injury issues for you guys over the last few weeks. How is your team health-wise as you kind of come into the midpoint of your season?
Yeah, not too bad. I mean, tonight was a very physical game for us, and we had a couple kids get dinged up, so we'll see where they stand going into next week. But next week's going to be the same with Centerville, and then after that, Robinson. So our kids are just going to have to hang in there. We're going to have to take care of them in practice, make sure we don't work them too hard, get them to be too physical in practice. Matter of fact, we're going to take tomorrow off and let them heal up. So, but if guys can't go, then we got to have a mixed man in.
Obviously, you guys have some depth to go ahead and deal with that. Looking at that schedule, like you talked about, you get Centerville next week, then a really up-and-coming Robinson team after that. Obviously, you'd probably like to have the game spread out a bit, maybe just for health reasons, but is it good focus-wise to really have these games where obviously the kids know, hey, we can't look past Stonebridge to get to Centerville, we can't look past these guys to get to these guys? Is it nice to kind of have those together where it's focusing one game at a time, as the coaches always like to do?
Yeah, I don't sense that we were looking past Stonebridge. I know that that's in the back of the kids' minds just because it's such a rivalry. But, after losing the Lake Braddock game, a game that we felt like we should have, that we did not perform very well in, I think the kids were pretty focused. They knew the tradition of Stonebridge's football program and how physical game was going to be, so I don't think that was an issue. Now we can celebrate the win for a day or two and then start putting our focus on Centerville and, like you said, spreading it out. Yeah, I mean, but as long as you're able to stay healthy, it's fun to play these tough games, and I think it does make you stronger near the end of the season if you can stay healthy.
Yeah, and obviously you guys pretty strong so far, a 4-1 start, and you look at some of the teams on your schedule have been just great. Do you like how your team has gone through the season? Are they going along as well as you would like them to, kind of progressing the way you want to see them if you guys are going to make a run, as your program characteristically does, at region championships?
Well, I think the Hayfield game, I think Hayfield's a much better team than their record shows, so that was a great win for us. That was not an especially good matchup for us, and we came out of that game with a win. Then we took a step backwards against Lake Braddock, a combination of miscues on our part that we don't typically have, and some flags that were thrown at critical times in the game that we just could not overcome. So I was not happy at all about that. Defensively, very proud of our team. Did some good things on special teams, but we had some miscues there too. Offensively, we have some things that we need to get corrected, and we need to put more points on the board. I mean, we moved the ball at times tonight, but we got to get points on the board.
Obviously. And, Coach, one last thing before we let you go. We got to ask, obviously, the story in the Post today had been a few about your physical health, the cancer, and the treatments you're going through. Obviously, a lot of folks have followed your program when you were the defensive coordinator, then as the head coach now. How are you feeling right now, and how are you doing health-wise?
I'm doing pretty good. Considering everything I've been through up until this point, I feel good. I've only missed 2 practices, and most of those were due to surgeries I had. About ready to start radiation on Monday, and I won't lie, I'm a little concerned. I'm not sure how I'm going to respond to that, but fingers are crossed. And football has really been a highlight for me, between my family and all the support I've gotten, and being with the team is kind of a rehab. And I'm just hopeful that I'm going to be able to continue to do that. And I'm just, to be honest with you, I feel very lucky because what I have is beatable, and I just got to fight for December.
Well, Coach, obviously you've had some very good programs. You've put some very good guys out there, not only in the football programs, but good men out from your teams as well. And you're a credit to the area football scene. And we just want to send our well wishes along here at the show. And hopefully, again, you keep doing well, and we'll be out there watching you, Coach, for a long, long time.
All right. Well, thank you, Jeremy. I really appreciate that. You have a good weekend.
You too as well. That's head coach Kyle Simmons of the Westfield Bulldogs, a 15-9 winner tonight over Stonebridge in that old battle of the Bulldogs. The Westfield Bulldogs get through, and as Coach said, his teams have had some up and down performances. The loss to Lake Braddock, the win against Wakefield, against Hayfield, which didn't look as good at the time, but looks pretty good now. And we'll talk about that a little bit later in the show, what they did tonight, but should be interesting. They've got a game next week. They'll be playing their rival, Centerville. Big game. We'll be talking about that as well. DMV Stream's got some things cooked up for that. So make sure you stay tuned, and we'll be talking all about it as we move ahead here on the Final Drive. Remember, you can tweet us at DMV Stream, hashtag it with DMV Final Drive. Love to hear from you. Love to hear what you have to think about the show. Should be, again, we've got a whole lot of things planned for you on the show tonight. Let's run them down. You just heard from Kyle Simmons, top of the show, brought him to you, that huge game tonight between Westfield and Stonebridge. We will also hear from one of the coaches in the big game tomorrow. That would be DeMatha and Good Counsel, number 8 versus number 3 in the Washington Post top 20. We will go ahead and hear from the head coach of the Stags, Elijah Brooks. I believe we're going to do that in a 2-part interview, so kind of let you hear both parts. Talked about his team's win last week over St. John's, and the game against Good Counsel should be a great one. We'll talk to Coach Brooks all about that. Actually talked to him earlier in the day. We will also go ahead and hear from the head coach of the Episcopal Maroon, be Panos Voulgaris, who his team got a big win tonight, this afternoon actually. They beat Landon in a game that really trying to sort out that pecking order in the IAC. So we will hear from him as well, plus maybe some other coaches as well. We got an eye on the Battlefield and Hylton game. That one's an exciting one, as seemingly all those games down in Prince William County are right about now. These teams kind of really getting after it. You can't exactly tell who's going to win, who's going to lose. So we will go ahead and hopefully check in on one of the coaches from that game as well. We'll also get you up to date on all the scores. We're going to do that next right here on The Final Drive.
So part of the new technology that we've been rolling out here at Synthesis is live streaming. We'll go on site. We'll actually set up our cameras, we'll set up a feed, and we'll beam that to our clients. One of their clients being WashingtonPost.com, one of our more recent projects. We actually live streamed a high school football player's decision as to where he was going to go play college football. We went early, we did a dry run, we did a walkthrough, we hooked up to their internet, we created the stream, and we pumped that to back at WashingtonPost.com, where they broadcast that signal to thousands of people that were interested in watching that content. It was a very successful first few steps into live programming for major media organizations. We'll continue exploring it as we are now going out and doing live high school sporting events, college sporting events. We're also doing stuff for some of our private clients over at universities, streaming, lectures, all kinds of stuff that this new live programming technology will allow us to continue to make new steps in the multimedia world.
DMVSTREAM.COM. DMVSTREAM.COM is a website dedicated to broadcasting live sports in DC, Maryland, and Virginia. We'll be broadcasting pro, amateur, college, high school, AAU, and youth games, as well as tournaments. You can watch these free broadcasts on your computers, tablets, and mobile devices like iPad, iPhone, Android, and more. DMVStream.com is a free site. No subscriptions, no logins, no hassle. Just log on and watch sports free. What's different about us? Well, you're in control. You're calling the shots. By voting in our weekly poll and sharing it on Facebook and Twitter, you can tell us where our next broadcast is going to be. I'm really excited about this new venture, and I hope you'll help us spread the good word by logging on to Facebook and Twitter and sharing us at DMVStream.com.
And welcome back to The Final Drive. I'm Jeremy Huber, your host on this crazy tour through District, Maryland, and Virginia football. Really more Maryland and Virginia tonight. Of course, a lot of the teams playing with the playing on a Thursday because of the Jewish holidays. Yom Kippur, they're going ahead playing in observance of that, staying off of Friday night. So a lot of those games tonight. So we go ahead and bring you the show as we take a look at everything going on when it comes to high school football in the area. We'll also go over the schedule for tomorrow and on Saturday, games on both days as well. So 3 days. If you plan your tour right, you could see at least 3 games over a 3-day span. And considering some of the games that were played this afternoon, some games that are set for tomorrow afternoon, you could really see maybe 5, maybe 6 games if you played your cards right. So make sure you stay tuned. We'll get you up to date on all of that. Just talked to head coach Kyle Simmons of Westfield. His team a winner tonight. The team they play next week in a huge matchup. The number 1 team in the area, the Centerville Wildcats, a big winner tonight over rival Chantilly. Centerville wins that one 48-0. Number 2 Northwest also dominant looking as they beat Blake 48-0. Number 3 team, we mentioned it already. Number 3, Good Counsel, hosts number 8, DeMatha tomorrow in what should be a barn burner in the WCAC. Number 4, Gonzaga, they are idle after their loss last week to Good Counsel. They play Carroll next week. Number 5, Briar Woods, they knocked off Freedom of South Riding 52-0. Number 6, Damascus over Clarksburg tonight, 24-6. Number 7, Douglas, they play Friendly tomorrow afternoon. Number 9, St. John's, they're at O'Connell on Saturday. Remember, they lost to DeMatha last week. O'Connell's had a real good season. I believe they're off to a 5-0 start. Number 10, Eleanor Roosevelt, they're at Bowie on Friday. As we mentioned earlier, number 11, Westfield beat Stonebridge 15-9. Number 12, Wise hosting Northwestern tomorrow. Number 13, Patriot, a winner over Potomac, 43-22. Number 14, Broad Run is idle. They play Tuscarora next week. That should be a very good game. The Huskies may be into the top 20 by then. We'll tell you why in just a few moments. Number 15, Bullis with a non-conference game of note. They beat Avalon 34-12 tonight, so that one a little bit easier than expected for the Bulldogs. The Knights of Avalon having a pretty good season, but Bullis able to go ahead and knock them off. Number 16, River Hill. They were a winner tonight as they beat Mount Hebron 35-14. It was number 17, Arundel, a winner over Northeast 56-10. Number 18, HD Woodson. They're at Coolidge on Saturday. T.C. Williams at South County. Number 19, South County, they are actually idle this week. They play next week against T.C. Williams. Number 20, Lake Braddock, also idle this week. They play W.T. Woodson next week. Now to some of your private school games. Gilman of Baltimore off their win 2 weeks ago against good Counsel. A big winner over Spalding, 69-34. Episcopal, a winner over Landon tonight, 29-21. Again, we will hear from the head coach of the Maroon, Panos Voulgaris. Talked to him earlier tonight. You'll hear that interview coming up in just a bit. Sidwell Friends, a winner over Murray, 50-6. St. Stephen St. Agnes, a winner over Friends of Baltimore, 52-22. To your Maryland scores, it was Old Mill over Annapolis, 30-6. Wild Lake beat Athleden 40-7. Low scoring contest for Blair and Bethesda Chevy Chase. Blair winning that one by a count of 7-0. So not a lot of scoring in that one, but Blair able to go ahead and get the win. Broadneck, a winner over North County, 49-0. It was Catoctin over Poolsville, 30-13. Long Reach over Centennial, 35-14. Glen Burnie beat Chesapeake, 29-19 in their matchup. Paint Branch, a winner over Einstein tonight, 35-14. Paint Branch 5-0 on the season as they look to continue their winning ways. Wooten, a winner over Gaithersburg tonight, 16-12. It was Howard over Glenelg, 20-15. Choppington over Huntingtown, that is, 28-20. Choppington, the last unbeaten team in the SMAC. Jeffrey Burley had 2 interceptions for the squad in that one. North Point, a winner over Leonardtown, 43-7. Magruder over Walter Johnson, 21-7. Oakland Mills, a winner over Marriott's Ridge, 49-35. Patuxent over McDonough, 58-25. Lackey over Northern, 20-7. Rockville keeps up their good play as they beat Northwood, 62-7. It was Quince Orchard big over Churchill tonight, 44-3. Hammond knocked off Reservoir 24-7. Severna Park falls to Meade 40-14. Meade now 4-1 on the season. Seneca Valley big over Sherwood 27-17. South River gets their first win of the year as they beat Southern 29-20. Thomas Stone over Calvert tonight, 41-6 to run their record to 4-1 on the year. Watkins Mill takes a tight one against Springbrook, 14-12. Watkins Mill with a late 2-point stop to get the win. Westlake beat St. Charles 45-6. It was Kennedy over Wheaton tonight, 12-7. Richard Montgomery knocks off Whitman 31-20. Richard Montgomery with 3 red zone stops to go ahead and clinch that win. Annandale over in Virginia we should go to right now as Annandale a winner over T.C. Williams by a count of 61-40. Annandale, the Adams now move to 33-2 on the season. This one just in. Hylton completes a big comeback. I believe they were down by a count of around, I think somewhere around 28-7 in the first half. Come all the way back and beat Battlefield 40-28. So Hylton, Hylton, that Prince William County, they are playing some good football games out there right now. As Hylton, after that loss earlier in the season where they lost the talented freshman running back Ricky Slade, and they lost that game, that one coming against Stonewall Jackson. Hylton has looked like a house of fire. Remember, they lose to Osborne. They beat Osborne 50-0 in their opener. They lose to Stonewall in 18-16, in their second game, but Slade got hurt. Come back with win over Osborne Park 47-10. Then last week they knock off ranked Patriots 66-41 in a shootout. And again, it looked like Hylton did it again tonight, beating Battlefield coming from behind 40-28. So congratulations to Hylton for a big win in their matchup with Battlefield at one of those Prince William rivals. Dominion beats Champ tonight 28-27. That's a key Dulles District battle. Again, Champ, second-year program, really having a good season, and that would have been a big win for them. That would have, I believe, clinched them, giving them 4 wins on the season. Got a lot of winnable games down the stretch and could have helped them towards a pretty good seed when it comes, remember, with Virginia redoing their playoffs. Most of those Loudon teams, you've got your 5As, you got your 4As, and there's just 2 3As, Champ and Loudon Valley. And again, when you play against all those bigger schools, you got to get ready. And when you play against those little guys, it seems like it's a little bit of a breather for you. And Champ maybe trying to get some good playoff positioning, but they fall tonight to Dominion 28-27. It was Fairfax over Jefferson 41-28. Stonewall Jackson with a tight one tonight against Freedom of Woodbridge. The Jackson wins 14-12. Herndon in a shootout beats McLean 51-35. Langley over Marshall 63-7. So after Marshall's win last week, Langley goes ahead and gets the blowout. Garfield a winner over Osborne Park tonight 27-14. It was Yorktown bouncing back. They beat Stewart 35-0. Tuscarora over crosstown rival Loudoun County 21-8. Tusky moves their record to 6-0. They actually played again without their quarterback Daniel Smith as they've kind of gone through the year. Their running back Noah Reimers has really carried them, had a lot of yardage against almost 300 yards against Martinsburg a couple weeks ago, the West Virginia Power. At least the plan was for him tonight to go play quarterback, maybe a direct snap, running it and passing it, and they ended up running out to a 21-0 lead, hold Loudoun County off a few times in the red zone, and win 21-8. That sets up a real big matchup next week for Tuscarora as they'll play Broad Run and be a field dedication at Tuscarora for their late defensive coordinator Adam Fortune naming the field. He passed away. We talked about on the show before. Passed away over the summer due to some heart issues, and they planned this game, I believe, because Broad Run was the school that he and Mike Burnett, the coach of Tuscarora, coached at before. Now their new school, so trying to bring together both of those families. Both places had candlelight vigils for him after his passing. But now this is going to be a huge game as Tuscarora may see themselves into the bottom of the polls after a 6-0 start. Again, Broad Run's already in the polls as well. Hayfield hands Wakefield their first loss of the season, 37-10. Remember, as Coach Simmons kind of alluded to, Hayfield, pretty good team. Their first 3 games of the season against Centerville, also Westfield and South County, so 3 ranked teams. Hayfield lost them all, but since then they're 2-0 on the season and maybe making some noise in the playoffs and in their district this year. Washington Lee comes back as they beat Falls Church 33-28, a comeback win. That's the first loss of the season for the Jaguars of Falls Church. Couple scores out there that we're still efforting to get our hands on, and we will go ahead and pass those along to you as soon as we get them. But again, pretty full night considering the fact it's on Thursday, but a lot of games were played tonight, and again, we're getting you up to date on them all as we go ahead and move through as here on the final drive. Remember, if you want to go ahead and tweet us, let us know what you're thinking about the show. Do it at DMVStream. Also, go ahead and hashtag that with DMV Final Drive. That's hashtag DMV Final Drive as if you want to go ahead and let us know what's going on out there in your neck of the woods when it comes to high school football. Let us know something you like, something you didn't like, something you want to brag about, something we may not have seen in one of the games, want to give us a little bit of a description. Go ahead and let us know what you're thinking out there. Again, that's at DMV Stream. Hashtag it with DMV Final Drive. DMV Stream. Hashtag it with DMV Final Drive. We're going to go ahead and take a quick break, and coming up after this, when we talked earlier with the head coach of the Episcopal Maroon, Panos Voulgaris, excuse me, folks. Coach was really nice to come on with us and talk to us. And we're going to hear from that interview after his team's big win, a comeback win over Landon today, big win in the IAC. We'll hear from him after this. It's all coming up here on the Final Drive. Remember, if you want to get to us, it's at DMV Stream. Hashtag it with DMV Final Drive.
All right, so today we're at the biggest MMA, longest running MMA card in the DC area. We're taking in 4 camera angles, as you can see, on our TriCaster. We've got both close-ups on fighters. We've got a bird's eye view. We're pumping the signal throughout the entire venue here at Echo Stage in DC. You can watch the fight from all levels within the venue. We're pumping it through all of the monitors above the bars, as well as a 40-foot LED wall up on the back screen behind me here. We are pumping this throughout every monitor within this building so that there's really literally no bad seat in the house. We've got our camera operators set up on the cage. We've also got ambient microphones run. We've got a play-by-play and color announcer for our recordings. We are also pumping that out within the venue. Also, you can rent FM headsets to listen to the play-by-play if you are actually in the venue. So just another great use for our live production crew at Synthesis.
Oh, and it's the end of the round, and I think
it's out.
He just stopped it. Wow. I mean, with 1 second left, in round number 2, Mercer catches Friedman with an overhand right.
Nice.
That's a powerful left kick to the face.
Oh, it's over. This one's over.
Is he out?
Yeah, that knee. Jeez.
Jonathan Escalona caught him with a knee. It's all over with. Wow. What a knee from Jonathan Escalona to Darnell Murphy. We probably ought to get the doctors in and take a look.
At DMVSTREAM.COM, we'll stream your verbal commitment live to our audience, viewable on computers, televisions, and mobile devices. Stream your college commitment live to the world. Let us know when and where you'll make the biggest choice of your athletic career, and we'll dispatch a producer. We'll handle all the technical, putting you in front and center under the brightest lights on your biggest day. You can blast your biggest moments to all your friends and family, as well as Facebook and Twitter followers. They can watch you make this choice live. Interested in having us stream your commitment? Fill out the form below and let us know how we can get involved. Remember, follow us on Facebook and Twitter, and visit us on the web at DMVSTREAM.COM.
And welcome back to the Final Drive here on DMVSTREAM.com, getting you up to date on everything that happened tonight in high school, the special Thursday edition, but all the high school action in the DMV, District, Maryland, and Virginia. One of the, not a lot of private school games, a lot of the private schools playing tomorrow, but there was one between two of the more older and respected schools in the area. That would be Episcopal and Landon, a big IAC battle, and Episcopal, the winner in that one, came back from a 14-point halftime deficit to go ahead and beat Landon 29 to 21 and get the victory there, move their record on in the season. Have just lost once, and again, they've got some tough teams in the conference, Bullis, Georgetown, Prep, just to name a few, and even some teams coming up in a very tough conference, but Episcopal a winner tonight. And because it was an afternoon game, I actually got a chance to catch up with the head coach of their squad. That would be one Panos Voulgaris, as we talked to him in the afternoon, talked about his team's big win over Landon earlier today. Coach Voulgaris, congratulations. The big win tonight over Landon. You guys were down 14 at the half, able to come back and get the win. What were you and your guys able to do to kind of turn things around at halftime?
Well, a couple of the adjustments we made were to really, from an offensive standpoint, we were running a lot of stuff to the perimeter, and so the defense was starting to flow to that, and we came right back inside with some stuff to counter what we were doing on the outside in the first half and also in the third quarter. And then from a defensive standpoint, we simply started to contain on the strong side of their run plays on their quarterback waggle and their rollout passes, and that was really the difference from a football standpoint. From a conditioning standpoint, we really were able to wear them down by the fourth quarter, and that was the difference. When we were lined up and enthusiastic and energetic and ready to snap the ball, and we were able to to really move their defensive line a little bit in the second half, especially in the latter part of the fourth quarter. And then some key individual plays on a couple of one-on-one passes to a couple of guys that were really a key difference in the momentum of the football game.
You talked about your defense right before we went on the air together, and you mentioned some guys who really got it going. And obviously, it had to start on defense, considering you really stoned the Bears that whole second half, didn't let them score. Who are some guys that stood out on defense to help you guys get back in the game?
The strong side defensive end, Colin Dixon, did a tremendous job of sticking to the assignment, which was to make sure no one gets around him. He did a very good job of containing. Taj Gooden, our defensive tackle, was made some really nice plays to stifle the run game, which put them into some passing situations. And then Mason Spence and Patrice Renee broke up a couple of passes that were critical to forcing some punts and giving us some pretty good field position.
Who are some guys on the offensive end? Obviously, when you're down like you were at the half, you kind of come roaring back. Those guys have to have a good game, and probably the defense setting them up. But who are some offensive standouts that really got things going for you?
I think Jesse Naylor up front did a very good job blocking and creating some space for our running backs, and also in the pass game, which allowed our quarterback, Seth Aguinobi, to find his receivers. And the two receivers who made some huge plays for us were Timmy Phillips at wide receiver and Brian Chase at the slot receiver. Without them making some key plays, catching the ball in space and getting some yards after they caught it, the game may not have turned out the way it did in our favor.
Now, Coach, looking at what you guys have done so far this year, you really haven't had problems putting up points in all your games. Even the loss to Ireton, you did put up some good points throughout the season, and maybe surprising after losing Nigel Beckford last year. What have you guys changed, if anything, offensively to make sure that your offense is still putting out the points that you want?
We haven't changed a whole lot. We're very similar to what we did a year ago. We like to have a good balance between the run and the pass, and we want to play fast. We want to have good tempo. We want to, try to score as fast as possible. That's the goal with our offense. But we're pretty balanced with our run and our pass, and that's what we're going to continue to do. We have a few different running backs who can run the ball, and we're really relying on the offensive line to do their job. And then we're finding out who our quarterback is and what receivers are the ones that can make plays for us.
Episcopal head coach Panos Voulgaris joining us after his team's big comeback win over Landon 29-21. Coach, obviously the early in the season for you guys in the IAC, but you and Landon really seen as contenders maybe for the top dog in Bullis, a team to really challenge them. Does this give your team some confidence moving forward in the schedule to say, hey, we're back and we're looking to go ahead and take the title here?
I think we're going to just take it 1 week at a time. I mean, tomorrow, for example, we're going to look at the film and see what we did wrong today, and we got to correct those things, and we got to prepare for St. Albans. We know obviously that Bullis is a tremendous team. They're very talented, very well coached, and they're won the league championship 2 of the last 3 years. They're a phenomenal football team, and like I said, very well coached. But we got to take care of what we have to do each and every Saturday before we play that game. So the upcoming game is the most important one to us.
And in that vein, I know that you're focusing one game at a time, but we got to ask, because every time we get a coach on that has a special thing, we always like to. You guys have that big game against Woodbury Forest at the end of the year every season. I know that obviously you've got the conference play, so that's a good way to keep the kids' minds on one game at a time. But what's it like to coach in that game and get your kids into a game like that has so much history behind it?
It's great for both schools. This will be the 114th year in a row that game has been played. It means a lot to the alumni of both schools. It means a lot to our kids and to our students. But in all honesty, I don't think about that until the week we play that game. And so I really try to stay focused on our upcoming opponent, and I think that's the way we want our kids to be thinking as well.
Coach Voulgaris, obviously you're going to do that because you've had a pretty good start to the season so far. Big win over Landon today. Thanks so much for joining us on the show.
All right, thank you very much.
Again, that was Panos Voulgaris, the head coach of the Episcopal Maroon. Big win today, a comeback victory over Landon 29-21 as his team improves on the season, running their record to 4-1, and again looking to make some waves. They were the runner-up last year in the IAC, looking to do even better than that this year. A couple other late scores have come in. We'll go ahead and get them to you right now. La Plata, a winner tonight over Great Mills in Maryland action, 28-7. Also, one other score coming in from Virginia tonight. It was Forest Park over Osborne, 34-20. Really just one holdout score that we have waiting for us so far. It's Woodgrove and Heritage. So I believe Woodgrove got the win in that one, but again, we have not gotten anything in. If you got it, go ahead and tweet it to us at DMVStream. Hashtag it with DMV Final Drive. That's at DMVStream. Hashtag it with DMV Final Drive. Let's go ahead and take a quick look at the schedule for tomorrow and Saturday. A lot of good games coming up. Of course, the big one, it's going to be that top 10 showdown between number 8 DeMatha and number 3 Good Counsel. That's a 7 o'clock game tomorrow. But other games tomorrow on the slate, 6 o'clock start for Annapolis Area Christian and St. John's Catholic Prep, 7 o'clock for Ballou and Wilson. Bell and McKinley get going at 7 o'clock tomorrow. Boys Latin and St. Mary's of Annapolis at 7. Brentsville and Culpeper set for a 7 o'clock kickoff. Crossland and Gwynn Park, a 3 p.m. kick. It's Douglas and Friendly set to get going at 3:30 tomorrow. Dunbar and Anacostia at 7. Eastern and Phelps at 7 o'clock tomorrow. Eleanor Roosevelt and Bowie face off at 3:30 tomorrow. Same for Fairmont Heights and Surrattsville. Also the same for Flint Hill and Bishop Ireton. Friendship Collegiate takes on Eastern Christian Academy. That should be a good one. 7 o'clock start there. George Mason and Madison County, a 7:30 start. High Point and Parkdale kick off at 3:30. Also, it's Manassas Park and Central of Woodstock, a 3:30 start. Mount Carmel and Maryland and Pilate get going at 7. Northwestern and Wise at 3 tomorrow. It's Oxon Hill and C.H. Flowers at 3:30. Paul Public Charter versus National Collegiate at 7. Perry Street Prep and Riverdale Baptist get going at 7 o'clock. Potomac of Maryland and Largo, they'll kick off set for 2 tomorrow. Richard Wright and Cesar Chavez at 7 tomorrow. Richmond Christian and Quantico, a 6 p.m. kick. It's St. Mary's Ryken and Edgewood at 7 tomorrow. Suitland and Laurel, that's a 3:30 kickoff tomorrow. Theodore Roosevelt and Cardozo, they are a 7 o'clock kickoff tomorrow night. Again, some Saturday action as well. 1 o'clock kick, a good one for H.D. Woodson and Coolidge. 1:30 for Georgetown Prep and St. Albans. At 2, we see Bladensburg and Duval, also Carroll and McNamara, and St. John's and O'Connell. 3 o'clock, 3:30 start that is for Central and Forestville. A 4 o'clock start for Paul VI as they travel down to Richmond to face Benedictine. And then it's Kip versus Options. That will be a 7 p.m. start tomorrow. And so we kind of run you through all the action in the area. Again, like we told you earlier on, if you're so inclined, you could probably see 5 football games, high school football games in the area this weekend, maybe even 6 if you play those cards right with some of the times on there. Who knows? Maybe if you want to see partial games, you might be able to get in 7 or 8. Considering what they've got going on. But a lot of high school football spread out because of the Jewish holidays. And again, a lot of chances to see some good high school football this weekend. We're going to go ahead and take a break. And after the break, we mentioned that big game this weekend. Tomorrow it is between DeMatha and Good Counsel, number 3 versus number 8 in the All-Met Sports Poll. We will go ahead and hear from Elijah Brooks, the head coach of the DeMatha Stags. Talked to him earlier today about that game and his team's entire season. We will go ahead and hear from Coach Brooks right after this here on The Final Drive. I'm Jeremy Huber. Remember, get to us at DMV Stream. Hashtag it with DMV Final Drive.
So part of the new technology that we've been rolling out here at Synthesis is live streaming. We'll go on site. We'll actually set up our cameras, we'll set up a feed, and we'll beam that to our clients. One of their clients being WashingtonPost.com, one of our more recent projects. We actually live streamed a high school football player's decision as to where he was going to go play college football. We went early, we did a dry run, we did a walkthrough, we hooked up to their internet, we created the stream, and we pumped that to back at WashingtonPost.com, where they broadcast that signal to thousands of people that were interested in watching that content. It was a very successful first few steps into live programming for major media organizations. We'll continue exploring it as we are now going out and doing live high school sporting events, college sporting events. We're also doing stuff for some of our private clients over at universities, streaming, lectures, all kinds of stuff that this new live programming technology will allow us to continue to make new steps in the multimedia world.
What's up, sports fans? I'm really excited to tell you about our newest product, DMVSTREAM.COM. DMVSTREAM.COM is a website dedicated to broadcasting live sports in DC, Maryland, and Virginia. We'll be broadcasting pro, amateur, college, high school, AAU, and youth games, as well as tournaments. You can watch these free broadcasts on your computers, tablets, and mobile devices like iPad, iPhone, Android, and more. DMVStream.com is a free site. No subscriptions, no logins, no hassle. Just log on and watch sports free. What's different about us? Well, you're in control. You're calling the shots. By voting in our weekly poll and sharing it on Facebook and Twitter, you can tell us where our next broadcast is going to be. I'm really excited about this new venture, and I hope you'll help us spread the good word by logging on to Facebook and Twitter and sharing us at DMVStream.com.
And welcome back into the final drive. Jeremy Hubert, your host, running you through the action, a special Thursday edition of the show. And so we go ahead, take a look at what happened tonight. A lot of games tonight because of the Jewish holidays. Also games tomorrow and Saturday. Of course, the biggest game of the weekend. It's number 3 Good Counsel versus number 8 DeMatha. And had a chance earlier in the day to catch up with the head coach of the Stags. Elijah Brooks talked all about his big win last week against St. John's, the game against Good Counsel, and some other things. Go ahead, let's take a listen to it right now here on the final drive. Head coach Elijah Brooks of the DeMatha Stags. Coach Brooks, I asked your colleague Mike Jones, the basketball coach at DeMatha last year, after he had lost a lot of his top players to graduation, whether it was all fulfilling for him to have kind of a younger team that he had to do a little more coaching with. Do you feel it all this way with your team? You lose the 30 guys last year. Is it a different feeling coaching this year's team maybe to opposed to last year's WCAC winners?
Absolutely. You're coaching a group of guys. This is their first time really getting, sufficient playing time. And it's definitely a challenge that, we accept as a staff because the talent is obviously there. They just got to know how to move in the right direction. So, it's taking some time, but slowly but surely the kids are getting it, and it feels good.
Speaking of that, I think a lot of folks were thrown off by the early start. No one really knew the teams you're playing in Philadelphia exactly how good they were, and then St. Mary's Reichen, a team that people didn't really know that much about, didn't look that good. Did you see early on? Was there kind of the point like, hey, we've got to test ourselves early on, and did it matter all to you the fact that obviously you don't want to lose, but that the competition might have been a little bit tougher than what some people might have thought it actually was?
Well, we knew what we had planned, coming into the season. Ultimately, our goal every year is to win the league. And I knew if we had scheduled opponents that we knew we could walk through, we could have started off the season 4-0, but then we would have walked into a huge trap starting league play. So we had to understand what game speed was like. We had to play some veteran groups. We had to be put in certain situations that we could build on. So that's what we did early in the season. And I think ultimately our record might not show it, but I think it's going to help us in the long run.
Obviously, it helped you last week with the overtime win over St. John's, and really, the talk kind of was they were loaded for bear. Sounded like, hey, we're going to end this 2-decade-long losing streak to DeMatha. How were you guys able to persevere in that one, especially early on, getting down in the game and come back and get that big win?
Well, we were able to just, touch on, times earlier in the season when we faced adversity. Our kids knew that we were going to face a tough St. John's team. And, we just always preached to our guys, no matter what, it's always the next play. And, if there were times in which we almost gave the game away, but our guys didn't get down. And being able to touch back on, similar times earlier in the season, I definitely think helped to propel us in the win against St. John's.
And that win coming on the play at the end of the game, Darryl Turner scoring the game-winning touchdown. Talk about him, his performance in that game, and what he's been able to do for you this year.
Darryl missed all of last year with the injury, a leg injury, and to see him come back and to be as explosive as he is on both sides of the ball, he's definitely been able to lift our team. He was elected as a captain by his teammates, which kind of speaks to his leadership. And, he's just been a fantastic player for us the last couple of weeks.
Another guy who's been getting it done for you, your quarterback, Bo English, stepping in. Again, obviously, when you're the quarterback at DeMatha, there's going to be some kind of cachet that comes with it. What's he been able to do for you this year, and how do you like to see his progression throughout the season?
Bo's doing a fantastic job for us. His first start as a sophomore, each and every game he's getting better. He's understanding that we have enough playmakers around him that he doesn't have to win us the game. He has to just get the ball in these guys' hands, and he's doing a great job of just managing the entire team. So, each game we'll put a little bit more on his plate as long as he shows he can handle it. And so far, so good, and we hope to just build on it.
Talking to DeMatha head coach Elijah Brooks, his team getting ready for a big matchup against good Counsel, two highly ranked teams. Coach, obviously the Falcons a bit down last year, but they seem to be back and right in the top of their game after the win over Gonzaga. What are some things that concern you about this good Counsel team?
Everything, just the fact that we have to play good Counsel each and every year. We get a big win against St. John's, and then, you blink and you have to prepare for good Counsel. And, we never, when it comes to good Counsel, we never look at records because none of that ever matters. Coach Malloy does a great job of getting those guys prepared year in, year out. And we know what we're going into, just a well-coached team. Those guys have the utmost confidence in their scheme and their ability, and it's going to be a dogfight from the opening kickoff, and that's just what DeMatha Good Counsel is.
Now, from what I've seen and what I've read, really it seems to be your playmakers versus their size and strength. Is that a good characterization of the game that you guys going to have to match that physicality they bring to the field?
Absolutely. Defensively, they've always been stout, and we face some challenges heading into this game, and when we have an opportunity, there only might be a few times to make a huge play offensively. We're going to have to make it, but then our defense is going to have to show up also. Their ground game is fantastic. They have great line play and running backs who run hard. So ultimately, just as they're depending on their defense, our defense has to come up big again this week if we're going to be successful.
Coach, did you happen to see any of the film from their loss to Gilman this year?
I did.
What were some of the things? Obviously, Gilman, a great program up in Baltimore. What are some things they were able to take advantage of the Falcons in doing?
Offensively, Gilman, when they had a chance to make an explosive play in the pass game, they didn't pass as much, but when they did, they caught good Counsel really trying to stop the run and took advantage of that. Good Counsel got away from what they do well early in the game and went to a more of a full wide receiver set. And it's clear now that their strength is definitely running the football. So, it's just one of those things where, early in the season, I think good Counsel was trying to figure out, much like us, what works for them. And I think they found it. It's just unfortunate that they found it when, we're about to play them.
I hear that. Elijah Brooks from DeMatha joining us. Coach, I guess a general question for you as we start to wrap this one up. What is it like to coach in the WCAC where, for lack of a better term, almost every game seems like it's just a rock fight, like absolute guys, big on big, getting after it, where there just doesn't seem to be any breathers?
I definitely think it's very similar to, like the SEC, Big Ten of college football, where, just week in, week out, you're not going to overmatch many teams with your talent. You're really going to have to coach from the opening kickoff till the end of the game. And, for a coach, it's definitely a good challenge. I think our kids enjoy, the challenge every week. And, it's why people, choose to come to DeMatha and other schools in the conference.
Now, one last one, we'll let you go, Coach. You mentioned that and how great everything is and like almost an SEC-like conference, but, those conferences and really even in the Maryland and Virginia public schools, you don't see the repeat games as much. You might play a team mid-season, then you might see them in the playoffs, where you guys will play a team, good Counsel, and that may be, you're going to see them again more than likely in the playoffs. Same thing, Gonzaga and St. John's and all the other powers. What is it like trying to know that most times you're going to have to see a really good football team twice in a season? Do you prepare any different for the first game to the second game? Is there any difference there?
No, I mean, the underlying point, is, we always know that it's a good chance that we're going to face a team twice. And I think, we win a good game against St. John's, but the thing that really, I guess kills your mindset is 9 times out of 10 you're going to see them again. So the only thing that we focus on every week is win. I don't think we, alter our game plans to save any plays or not show certain things because we're going to see them later in the year. We just want to go out and win any game by any means necessary and deal with everything else later on down the road. But, it's definitely a credit to our conference. It's great to play in it.
And one last one, Coach. I lied, but I got to ask you because you're one of the few we can ask this to. Obviously, you put a lot of guys in the big-time Division I programs. They come out and they end up playing at some of the best programs in America. How proud are you of when you get a chance to see one of your guys playing on Saturday, then maybe even on Sunday?
Oh, it's one of the best, feelings in the world. We kind of live vicariously through those guys, and, they get to play in some of the best college stadiums, and those who are fortunate enough to go into the pros. It's just it's the reason we do it. And for those guys to keep in touch with us and, definitely remember where they came from, it means a lot. And, it's just something that really makes it all worth it as a high school coach.
DeMatha head coach Elijah Brooks getting ready for a huge game this weekend against Good Counsel. Coach, thanks so much for joining us on the show.
All right, thanks a lot. I appreciate it.
Again, Elijah Brooks from DeMatha talking a little Good Counsel, a big game tomorrow night, 7 o'clock start at Good Counsel. Should be a barn burner. Two of the best teams in the WCAC locking horns. We're going to take a quick break. We'll come back and wrap this one up, run down the scores once again. Stay tuned. You're listening to The Final Drive here on DMVSTREAM.COM.
What's up, sports fans? I'm really excited to tell you about our newest product, DMVSTREAM.COM. DMVSTREAM.COM is a website dedicated to broadcasting live sports in DC, Maryland, and Virginia. We'll be broadcasting pro, amateur, college, high school, AAU, and youth games as well as tournaments. You can watch these free broadcasts on your computers, tablets, and mobile devices like iPad, iPhone, Android, and more. DMVSTREAM.COM is a free site. No subscriptions, no logins, no hassle. Just log on and watch sports free. What's different about us? Well, you're in control. You're calling the shots. By voting in our weekly poll and sharing it on Facebook and Twitter, you can tell us where our next broadcast is going to be. I'm really excited about this new venture, and I hope you'll help us spread the good word by logging on to Facebook and Twitter and sharing us at DMVStream.com. DMVStream.com.
We'll stream your verbal commitment live to our audience, viewable on computers, televisions, and mobile devices. Stream your college commitment live to the world. Let us know when and where you'll make the biggest choice of your athletic career, and we'll dispatch a producer. We'll handle all the technical, putting you in front and center under the brightest lights on your biggest day. You can blast your biggest moments to all your friends and family, as well as Facebook and Twitter followers. They can watch you make this choice live. Interested in having us stream your commitment? Fill out the form below and let us know how we can get involved. Remember, follow us on Facebook and Twitter, and visit us on the web at DMVSTREAM.com.
And welcome back into the final drive, and it's been a jam-packed show, and it will continue right now as we're lucky enough to be joined on the phone by the head coach of Hylton High School. A big win for them tonight. Another comeback victory, another exciting win for Hylton as they knock off Battlefield tonight by a score of 40-28. The head coach of Hylton, Tony Lilly, joining us on the phone. First off, Coach, congratulations on another big win for y'all.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it. I'm real proud of our kids. They fought hard tonight.
Yeah, you talk about your guys fighting hard, and it just seems like obviously the win over Patriot, you put up that type of points, and then you guys are down in the game today. How were your guys able to dig down like they were and pull off a big win against a really good Battlefield team?
Well, we came into the game, and we hurt ourselves in the first half. We had a lot of penalties, things that we got to correct. And I think it put us in situations. We were in 1st and 15s too many times. And I think it kind of took the emotional level out of my team in the first half. We got together at halftime, and we were able to put up I think it was a 90-yard drive together there in a little over a minute before the half to score. And I think for us that was just a moment for us to say, you know what, we just got to relax and play football. And kids challenged each other at halftime and said, let's go have some fun. Let's play our game. We haven't played our game yet.
Yeah, and obviously you guys did. And if you had a team that's able, I mean, obviously you got your freshman running back who's doing some great things, but it can't completely be a one-man gang. Are you guys have you used to having a team this explosive when it comes to a high school football squad?
Well, I mean, we're pretty explosive. We've been pretty explosive here over the last 4 years. But right now we did have a lot of weapons on the field, and a lot of the guys understand their role in the game, and I think that's big for us to understand the role, what part of the game that your role is, and do your job.
We have to ask you about Ricky Slager, running back, just a freshman, had the 8 touchdowns last week. Is obviously talk about. I know you don't want to hike him up too much because he's just a freshman, but obviously got to be a really special player to be doing that at the level of play he has. Prince William County football is no slouch, and he's looking like a really top-notch player there. Correct?
Oh yeah, absolutely. The thing about him is he's one of the harder working kids that you'll ever get. He's humble. And he's very competitive. So I think those things together, and then he just does things that we don't have to coach. I mean, his skill set is very high right now for a freshman.
Now, Coach, obviously your team did give up 28 points, but a lot of those came in the first half. Are you what were you guys able to tell your defense, or maybe do with the defense to kind of get them to settle down and really just lock down Battlefield really for most of the second half?
Well, we went into the game. The Battlefield's always a great running team. They always run the ball well. We went into the game with a pretty good. We had a lot of confidence that we could stop their run. We did, and then a lot of time in the first half. In the back half, my secondary was playing too safe. They were playing off too much, and I told them at halftime, listen, let's go make some plays. Don't worry about it if you get beat. If you get beat, you get beat, but let's at least go make some plays.
And that they did. You guys run off 33 straight points to finish the game off. Coach, got to ask you, right now it just seems like things are wild and woolly down in Prince William County, where you just from week to week you really can't tell who's going to win the game. You guys lose to Stonewall early in the season. You come back and beat Patriot. Is it that type of game where really you have to try and get across to your kids, hey, literally every team on our schedule can beat us?
Well, yeah, and that's the thing I share with our kids, that every game we play, we just got to have a mentality that it's a huge game for our opponent, and they're not going to we're not going to play teams that are going to come out flat because it's a big game for them, and we've got to be able to respond to that, and we've got to recognize that that's the way it's going to be every week. You know, and our kids have responded well to it. You know, and I think the loss to Stonewall was really a good thing for us. It was, you know, from a growing standpoint, it was a good timing for us, and you know, a little bit of a wake up call.
And one more before we let you go, Coach. I want to thank you for joining us. Tony Lilly, the head coach of Hylton, a big win tonight over Battlefield. You know, Coach, I remember you from back in the days when you were playing for the Denver Broncos. I'm a Skins fan. I know it wasn't exactly good memories for you, but obviously having an NFL career, though really with the kids you're coaching, they don't remember any of that. Maybe if they see the Super Bowl films come on, they say, oh, that's Coach out there. Is there any of that you can kind of take from your experiences as you're helping mold those guys down at Hylton?
Well, you know, I just think the biggest thing I try to share with the kids, you know, it's just the competitive nature of the game, you know, and at the end of the day, I'm just a firm believer in playing with high emotion and playing off of each other with that, and knowing that, you know, everything we're doing, we're playing for each other. You know, we forget about the stands, forget about everything except for at this moment, we got to play for one another. And take a little bit of pride in how you play, you know. And I always talk to them for the game, every game, and I say, you know, it's tonight where you got to reach a level you've never been, a level where you don't even know you can play, but you got to strive for that each week. You know, so that's really mostly what I try to convey to them.
Yeah, and you've been doing a very good job of that, Coach. Another big win tonight, 40-28, a comeback victory over Battlefield. Head coach of the Hylton Bulldogs, Tony Lilly, thanks so much for joining us on the show.
Not a problem. Thanks for calling.
And again, just that team and explosiveness of that Hylton Bulldogs team. Ricky Slade, the running back, big time stuff from him tonight after an eight touchdown game last week, helping the team come back. And again, some turnovers in there. They're able to turn things around against a good Battlefield team. And you look at Hylton the rest of the way, they've got a schedule where they can really make some hay. They've got Garfield, Woodbridge, Freedom of Woodbridge, then Potomac, and then Forest Park. So really, if you look at what they have left, really the tougher games on their schedule have been kind of front-loaded. Stonewall Jackson, Patriot, and Battlefield, just that loss to Stonewall. So I'm sure Coach Lilly's bunch taking it one game at a time, but if they do, they could have a really nice record as they move forward and position themselves for some good things coming down the stretch when it comes to playoffs in Virginia. We're going to do a little overtime on the show. It's so jam-packed, but we want to run down those scores one more time. Let's go ahead and do it. A little lightning round for you. We start at the very top. Number 1, Centerville, a winner over Chantilly tonight, 48-0. The rivalry, not so much as the Wildcats get the big win heading into their game against Westfield next week. Number 2, Northwest, a winner over Blake, 48-0. Number 3, Good Counsel, off until tomorrow when they play number 8, DeMatha. Number 4, Gonzaga. They are idle. They play Carroll next week. Number 5, Briarwoods, big win over Freedom of South Riding, 52-0. Number 6, Damascus over Clarksburg, 24-6. Number 7, Douglas at Friendly tomorrow. That will be a Friday game. Moving on to number 9, St. John's. They are at O'Connell. That is a Saturday matchup. Number 10, Eleanor Roosevelt at Bowie. That one is tomorrow. Number 11, Westfield. They beat Stonebridge 15-9. Heard from Kyle Simmons earlier on in the show. Number 12, Wise hosts Northwestern tomorrow. Number 13, Patriot beat Potomac of Virginia 43-22. Number 14, Broad Run Idle. Got a big one next week against Tuscarora, who's undefeated on the season. Number 15, Bullis beats Avalon 34-12. It was number 16, River Hill, a winner over Mount Hebron. That score 35-14. Number 17, Arundel, big over Northeast 56-10. Number 18, HD Woodson faces Coolidge on Saturday. Number 19, South County, Idle. They play TC Williams next week. Number 20, Lake Braddock, Idle. They play WT Woodson next week. To your private schools, Gilman big over Spalding 69-34. Episcopal over Landon 29-21. Heard from there the Maroon head coach Panos Voulgaris earlier on in the show. Sidwell Friends, a winner over Murray, 50-6. St. Stephen, St. Agnes over Friends of Baltimore, 52-22. Old Mill beats Annapolis, 30-6. Wild Lake over Atherton, 40-7. Blair edges Bethesda Chevy Chase, 7-0. Broadneck beats North County, 49-0. Catoctin over Poolsville, 30-13. Long Reach over Centennial, 35-14. Glen Burnie beats Chesapeake 29-19. Paint Branch over Einstein 35-14. Paint Branch moves to 5-0. Wooten over Gaithersburg 16-12. Howard over Glenelg 20-15. La Plata over Great Mills 28-7. Choppington, they beat Huntingtown 28-20. They remain the only unbeaten team in the SMAC. It was North Point over Leonardtown 43-7. Magruder beats Walter Johnson 21-7. Oakland Mills over Marriott's Ridge, 49-35. Patuxent big over McDonough, 58-25. Lackey beats Northern, 20-7. Rockville big over Northwood, 62-7. Quince Orchard blows out Churchill, 44-3. Hammond over Reservoir, 24-7. Meade beats Severna Park 40-14. Seneca Valley over Sherwood 27-17. South River over Southern 29-20. Thomas Stone beats Calvert 41-6. Watkins Mill over Springbrook 14-12. Westlake over St. Charles 45-6. Kennedy over Wheaton 12-7. Richard Montgomery beats Whitman 31-20. To your Virginia scores, Annandale over TC Williams 61-40. Hylton, just heard from Tony Lilly, they beat Battlefield 40-28. Probably see the Bulldogs back in the top 20 next week. Dominion, they beat Champ, edged them 28-27. Fairfax over Jefferson 41-28. Forest Park over Osborne 34-20. Stonewall Jackson beats Freedom of Woodbridge 14-12. Herndon over McLean 51-35. Langley beats Marshall 63-7. Garfield over Osborne Park, 27-14. Yorktown beats Stewart, 35-0. Tuscarora beats crosstown rival Loudoun County, 21-8. Tusky moves to 6-0 on the season. Hayfield deals Wakefield their first loss of the year. Hayfield wins at 37-10. Washington Lee gives Falls Church their first loss of the year, and a close one late. Washington Lee wins at 33-28. Remember, a lot of games tomorrow as well. Go look them up at allmetsports.com. The real big one, again, as we mentioned it before, it's DeMatha and Good Counsel. As Good Counsel ranked third in the All Met Sports Top 20, DeMatha checks in at number 8. So many people to thank on the show. It was a jam-packed show, especially for a Thursday night when not all the games were going on, but we had ourselves a heck of a show. I hope you were listening, and you hope you liked it. Let's run them down for you. Head coach of Hylton, Tony Lilly, joined us. Also head coach of the DeMatha Stags, Elijah Brooks, he joined us on the show. Westfield head coach Kyle Simmons joined us, and Episcopal head coach Panos Voulgaris also joined us on the show tonight. 4 big guests. We had such a good time bringing it to you with all the scores and everything. Remember, you want to feedback to us, tweet us at DMVStream, hashtag it with DMV Final Drive. Again, at DMVStream, hashtag it with DMV Final Drive if you want to go ahead and let us know exactly what is going on. If you want to talk about the show throughout the shows, make sure you're listening. Again, we've had a great year so far when it comes to getting those top-notch coaches on. Hopefully, we're going to keep on doing it, filling that void of maybe having some good high school football programming in the D.C. area. We're glad to bring it to you here on DMV Stream. Remember, make sure you follow DMV Stream on Twitter. We'll let you know exactly what the plan is for next week. Tentatively right now, at least what I've been told, our plan is to go ahead. DMV Stream will be out at Westfield and Westfield and Centerville, to go ahead and do that game. That will adjust the time of this show because I will be doing play-by-play on that game. So make sure we'll go ahead and follow me on Twitter. My Twitter is JRHuberSXM. Go ahead and follow me or follow DMV Stream. We'll go ahead and let you know exactly what time the show will be next week, all the good stuff. Make sure you're following us and so you know when to check in on what should be a jam-packed show again next week. Hopefully we'll get some sound from out post-game out of that one. Should be a big one between those two Concord District rivals, and hopefully catch up with a few other coaches on the show next week. Again, I'm your host, Jeremy Huber, and you've been listening to The Final Drive here on DMVStream.com.
Hello, and thank you for viewing this portion of our recent broadcast. This concludes the free viewing experience for this broadcast. If you're interested in viewing the remainder of this broadcast, you can simply click the Add to Cart button below this video where it says Download a Copy. You can also purchase a DVD of this broadcast, which will be viewable on computers and televisions. DMVSTREAM.COM is an independently funded project, meaning that your purchases and pledge of support go a long way in helping us to continue to broadcast live sporting events in the DMV. Thanks for stopping by and for your continued support.